How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this week's Q&A. First of all, I just want to say that I am using a new setting in my camera, so let me know if you guys like this setting better. It does blur out the background, or if I switch out to what I've been using before. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So like any other week, if you want a chance at one of your questions being answered, make sure you drop a comment down below, and I'll either answer it in a comment or in next week's video, or make a dedicated video if must be. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the first question this week is VIN etching on your windows a scam? Is it worth it? Or whatever the case may be. And the purpose of it is to have the windows matched to the VIN of your vehicle. And the point of that is, if in the event they do steal the car and they try to re-VIN it or whatever the case may be, it only makes it that much harder for them. So back in the day when I started at Honda and I did some PDI work, which is the pre-delivery inspection, we were doing this, and we don't do it anymore. I'm not sure what the reason is. I don't know if people just didn't want to buy it anymore or pay for the fee. Sometimes it can be a couple $100, which is excessive. Although anything that's going to deter from a thief from taking your vehicle is great in my opinion. And with the recent uptick in stolen Honda vehicles and Acuras, I would definitely say it's worth the investment. So I don't know if there is some sort of also kickback from your insurance company. Sometimes they offer kickbacks for anti-theft devices or preventative measures. So that's something that you're going to have to decide on your own. So again, I do think they were sometimes overcharged for this stuff. But if there's a high theft rate in your town or in your city, whatever the case may be, then it's probably something that is worth considering. And a lot of times you can buy these kits yourself on Amazon or eBay and just do it yourself. You get the last couple digits of the VIN and etch them to the windows yourself. So that is an option as well. So hopefully that answers the question for you. All right, so the next question is it okay to use aftermarket components, sensors, solenoids, actuators, stuff like that? And I would say 99 out of 100 times, try to stay away from that stuff, because it'll either be defective right off the bat, it'll read incorrectly, or cause some premature issues down the line, whether it be failing or some other issues related to that component. So the question was specific to O2 sensors, and sometimes it'll even come with a connector or anything like that. You have to use the old pigtail and adapt that to the new sensor, which gets real messy. So once again, I would try to stay away from it. Now, and if you're in a bind and it's on back order, or you're out in the road and that's the only thing you have access to, then I would say then you have no choice and go ahead and get it. But if you have the option of going with aftermarket versus OEM, and a lot of times the price isn't even that different, and sometimes the OEM is actually cheaper than aftermarket. I've seen it a handful of times, which is ridiculous. So is it okay to use? Sure. Will it cause some issues? Most likely. Will get you out of a bind? Most likely, once again. So obviously just see what the situation is and address that as needed from there. So hopefully that answers the question for you. All right, so the next question is, why am I paying a diag fee even though I have a warranty or extended warranty or whatever the case may be? And the reason we do that is because a lot of times we do not know what caused your issue, right? It could very well be a manufacturer defect, but in some cases, there could be some outside influence that caused your issue. And at that point, you're going to be liable for it, or whatever caused that issue, and not the manufacturer. We can't return, for instance, an AC condenser that has a big hole through it or is bent. Honda's not going to accept that. Or another example, we can't return in warranty a harness that's been chewed by a rodent. So that wouldn't be covered. And the reason we get the diagnostic fee is because a lot of people at that point, when we tell them the bad news, is we'll walk away from the job and end up having somebody else repair it, which is fine. But obviously the technician needs to get paid, and that's why that is there. Now, if your issue is covered by some sort of a defect that Honda is liable for, then at that point, you're not going to pay a diag fee. This is just to cover us on our end, And a lot of times it's a 50-50 split. Sometimes it'll be covered, sometimes it'll be outside influence, whether it's been in a body shop, some sort of an accident or rodent damage, whatever the case may be. And it's really a 50-50 split. And sometimes the customer will have multiple issues, and part of it will be covered and the other part won't be, let's say if they had 2 issues. So at that point, you're gonna have to pay for one of the issues and the other issue will be covered by Honda. So in that case, both parties would be paying for the repair of the vehicle. So hopefully that answers the question for you and it clears it up. Okay, so the next question is independent shop or a dealer. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that dealers offer the best service. We all know sometimes that is not true. Even in my own shop, we have guys that probably shouldn't be working on cars. But with the help of older experienced technicians like myself and some quality control efforts, we try to catch any mistake that is made before the vehicle leaves the shop and make sure the customer is 100% satisfied. Obviously, some stuff slips through and we don't catch everything. There's a lot going on. We work on 150 plus cars a day. So that does get overwhelming, but we try our best. So independent shops, there's also some very shady ones out there, but there's also some very high quality ones out there. So I do feel that the dealer has the latest information, service bulletins, service news, recall information, etc. We also have the latest and greatest tools provided to us by Honda. So that is an upside for the dealer. Now, the independent shop is going to be cheaper in labor. So obviously that is a plus for them. Now, there's a lot of independent shops that are very shady, but there's also some dealer work that is shady. So, and on the flip side, there's also some guys that own private shops that I know personally and obviously out there throughout the country that do some great work. So my advice is pick a person that you like, pick a mechanic that you like, that you trust is a fair price, whether it be at the dealer or at an independent shop. And just if you have that trust with them and you have had some great experience with them, then I would say stick with that person, whether again it be the dealer or in an independent shop. So there's no right or wrong here. I've explained the 2 different couple of reasons between the 2, but again, pick somebody you like and just build that relationship with them and just have the car serviced by them, and hopefully everything works out for all parties. So hopefully that answers the question for you. All right, so last question of the week. And once again, if you want a chance at one of your questions being answered, make sure you do drop a comment down below. Now, the question is, are seals, gaskets mandatory to replace every time something is removed? So the question was specific to metal gaskets. And again, I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and lie to you guys saying that we replace every single metal gasket when we do something. So for example, when we do intake manifolds and it has the top gasket is metal and a car is fairly newer, we most likely won't change it. We'll just make sure there's no debris on it and it will be okay. Now, normal procedure or recommended is to replace all and every single gasket when removed. But a lot of times that's stuff that adds up and just adds to the ticket and costs the customer more money. Obviously, if it's an older vehicle, you're going to want to not only replace the gasket or the O-ring or whatever the case may be, but you're going to want to make sure the surface is clean of any debris. So even with the new gasket, if there's some debris in there, you're going to have either an air leak, oil leak, or whatever the case may be, coolant leak, etc. So rubber gaskets, I would absolutely replace every time because they deform very easily, and sometimes they bend in a certain position, and then you go and remove the intake manifold, for instance, and put it back, and now it's folded in a different position, and you're going to get a leak, which in turn could cause some sort of high idle or a lean code of some sort. So you should absolutely be replacing gaskets every time, but sometimes if cost is a issue or availability is an issue, metal gaskets, I would say it would be okay, especially if the car is on the newer side and is being torqued properly. Anything rubber, I would probably get replaced, replace it every time you remove that component. Unless you literally just put it on and took it back off, then in that case, it would probably be okay. But again, the same theory applies. Some of these O-ring rubber gaskets, they fold a certain position, and whether you take it out and put it right back, it could be folded in a different position and it's already formed to the initial position and causing a leak. So hopefully that's not too confusing, but rule of thumb is you remove it, replace it with a new gasket, and you are ensuring yourself that you're maximizing your potential of not having an issue. So with that being said, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.